तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप गदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् आददानस्तृणं दन्तरिदं याचे पुनः पुनः श्रीमद्रूपपदाम्भोज दूलिस्यां जन्म जन्मनि अनर्पितचरिं चिरात् कर्णावतीर्णा कलौ समर्पयितुमुन्नतोऽतुलरसां स भक्तिश्रियम् हरिपुरकसुन्दरद्युतिः कदम्बसन्दीपिता सदा हृदये कन्दरे स्फुरतुभासितिरञ्जना संसारदुःखहृदौ परिदस्य कामा क्रोधादिनकर्मकरी कबलीकृतस्य दुर्वासना निगडितस्य निराश्रयस्य चैतन्यचन्द्रममतिवरावलम्बम् सर्वतमस्मदे गुरुपादपद्मनिखिला प्रेक्षितद्गुरु शिष्य भक्तिदास नारायण गोसाई महाराज तिरंडी स्वामी शिष्य भक्तिदास दंडी महाराज जी नामनिष्ठ संत श्री अनिरुद्धास प्रभु जी और समस्त वैष्णव के चरणों में यथा दंड प्रणाम अर्पण करता हूँ. So today we are beginning our class on Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. What verse is there today? 77, huh? I think 77. Yes, ma'am. 77, okay. So I was listening to Srila Gurudev's class and he was telling that we must offer obeisances to the listeners, the members of the audience. He said, don't, as a brahmachari, as a sannyasi, don't have the false pride that you know better than the audience. It may be that the members of the audience, some of the householders may be more advanced than you. And Gurudev was showing an example, he was giving an example. Once he went Mathura, one Panda's house, and when he went to the house of the Panda, apparently, he took him to small lanes and by-lanes and small lanes in Mathura. Those who are familiar with Mathura, they know how small lanes are there. Then somehow he took him this way, that way. Then on the top of the building, on the rooftop, there was a meeting going on. And Gurudev attended the meeting, and when he told Gurudev to speak some Harikatha, when Gurudev began to speak, all the women, they were crying, rolling on the ground, like they were so much emotional. Then Gurudev said that, what is this? They are just women. They are not staying in a matha. They are not brahmacharinis. They are householders. But you see how much sense of possessiveness for Krishna, mamata they have. He said, we are living in a matha. They are giving us donation and somehow maintaining us. And we should not have the pride that, we are better than them. But rather sometimes it may so happen that the members of the audience are more advanced. And Gurudev said there are always some chupe rustam. Chupe rustam means there are some people who are always hiding like this. So here also in this Chaitanya Charitamrita also, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami speaks, he also offers obeisances to the members of the audience, those who are listening to Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Laghu Bhagavatamritam, here first we'll read the English one. Sarupam anyakaram yat tasya bhati vilasatah prayenatma samaha shaktya savilaso nigaddate. Swarupam, the Lord's own form. Anya, other. Akaram, features of the body. Yat, which. Tasya, his. Bhati appears. Vilasata, from particular pastimes. Prayena, almost. Atma samam, self-similar. Shaktya, by his potency. Saha, that. Vilasa, the vilas form. Nigad, that is called. When the Lord displays numerous forms with different features, by his inconceivable potency, such forms are called vilasa. So this is from Laghu Bhagavatamrita. In Hindi it is told that Shri Krishna ki achintya shakti vilas. Now here it is referring to Lord Shri Krishna's achintya means inconceivable potency. Bhagavan's potency is inconceivable. How is inconceivable? He can make anything possible. Giving one example of Achintya Shakti, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes a verse from Padyavali. Ambodhi Salatam. Lord can convert an ocean into dry piece of land. Ambodi Stalatam Stalam Jaladita. And if Lord wants, he can convert the ground into the ocean. Dhuli Lava Shailata. Dhuli Lava Shailata means Krishna can convert one particle of dust into a mountain. Ambodi Stalatam Stalam Jalitam Dhuli Lava Shailatam Shailo Mrut. And he can make a mountain into a small speck of dust. So he cannot challenge Krishna's inconceivable potency. Like Srila Gurudev was giving an example of Sudama. Like Sudama was a classmate of Krishna. They were studying together in Sandipani Muni's school. And he had a wife actually. And Srila Gurudev told that his wife was actually daughter of Gargacharya. He is the same sage who did the name-giving ceremony for Krishna and Balram. Now the wife of Sudama, Gurudev said she was more advanced than Sudama. And Sudama, she would offer some food to Sudama and Sudama would not eat it on some pretext or the other. He would eat a bit. He would eat a little bit of it and then he would say that today I have a stomach ache, I cannot take more than this. Then he will give rest to his wife. So in this way, she saw that Sudama is becoming very thin, lean and thin. So she felt compassion and she told, your friend is Krishna so rich, maybe you should go to him. But Gurudev said that she wanted this for Sudama, not for herself. And Sudama was looking so old, even in the young age. And Krishna, although he was 125 years old, he looked like a teenage boy. His wives also looked like a teenage girls, although they were 100, 125 years old. So, then Krishna gave him 16,108 gold palaces. This is inconceivable potency of Krishna. So Gurudev was telling that Krishna's potency, you cannot measure it. It's immeasurable. So when Krishna, श्री कृष्ण की अचिंत्य शक्ति विलासी जब उनका स्वरूप प्राय अपने ही समान अन्य रूपों में प्रकाशित होता है. So Krishna manifests so many forms which are exactly like his own forms. Then that particular form is called Vilas. Tasya Mula Rupasya. Now, what is the Mula Rup, original form of Krishna? That Shama Rup, Shama Sundar Rup. Sham eva param rupam puri madhupuri vara vayam kaishorakam deyam addeva parorasa. Original form of Krishna is Kishore Krishna, threefold bending form with a flute in his hand. So yat swarupam anyakaram vilakshana anga sannivesham vilasataha lila vishesha prayena kashyip gunay rupadikam atma samam nija mula rupa tulyam shakti abhatsa vilasa nikate. जब मूल रूप के विलक्षण अंगों के सन्निवेश वाला means his expansions which are having the characteristics of his original form, having the same potency as the original form, but pastimes and qualities are somewhat more, then that is called vilas. So here giving an example of vilas here. What is vilas? जय छे बलदेव पर व्योमे नारायण जय छे वासुदेव प्रद्युम्नादि संकर्षण. Now here Krishna's vilas have been described. Baladev is the vilas of Krishna, and Paravyoma Narayan is also vilas of Krishna, and Vasudev is also vilas of Krishna, Pradyumna is also vilas of Krishna, and Sankarshan is also vilas of Krishna. Examples of such vilas figures are Baladev, Narayan in Vaikuntha Dham, and the Chaturviha, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. These are all vilas. Jai Chhe Baladeva Para Vyome Narayana Jai Chhe Vasudeva Pradyumna Adi Sankarshana. जैसे वृंदावन और द्वारका में, in Vrindavan and Dwarka, there is Shri Baladev Prabhu's presence is there. And in Vaikuntha, there is Shri Narayan. And in Chaturviha, there is Shri Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. These are all Bhagavan's Vilas Murtis. The forms which resemble Krishna but not 100%. They have their own little different forms, but also almost equal to Krishna, original Krishna in potency, not less than Krishna. Understand? So don't think that Balram has less potency than Krishna. He is identical strength as Krishna. Narayan also. So here, Shri Baldev is Shri Krishna's Swayam Prakash. Krishna is Swayam Rup and Baldev is Swayam Prakash. And Shri Narayan is his Prabhav Vilas. The technical term for Narayan is called Shri Prabhav Vilas. So Isha Shakti. Now he is describing Isha Shakti, the potency of the Lord. ईश्वर शक्ति है ए तीन प्रकार एक लक्ष्मी गण पुरे महिषी गणहार प्रजे गोपी गणार सभाते प्रधान ब्रजेंद्र नंदन जाते स्वयं भगवान. So the energies, the consorts of the Supreme Lord are of three kinds. The Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, the queens in Dwarka, and the gopis in Vrindavan. So the gopis are the best of all, for they have the privilege of serving Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord, the son of the king of Raj. So you can see here that today is also, I think, we are celebrating the Tithi of Srila Bhakti Santa Goswami Maharaj. You must offer him tribute. He was a great devotee of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And he was once, Srila Bharati Maharaj writes in his book, once he was told to speak on one particular payar, Bengali poetry of Chaitanya Charitamrita, stanza from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he was speaking, Jivera Swarupa hai Krishna Nityadas, Krishnera Tatastha Shakti, Veda Veda Prakash. That the Swarup of the Jiva is that Jiva is the eternal servant of Sri Krishna. And then, while giving explanation on this verse, Shri Radharaman Brahmachari, he told that Jivera Swarup hai Guru Nityadas. Use the word Guru Nityadas instead of saying Krishna Nityadas. That the Jiva is the eternal servant of Guru. And then he gave an explanation that although the Jiva is existing from time immemorial, Krishna did not deliver him. But it is only the Guru who took compassion on the Jiva and gave him Sambandha Gyan with Krishna, the knowledge of his relationship with Krishna. So he modified the verse and that he said that Jivera Sarupa hai Guru Nityadas. Only by the mercy of Guru one can advance. Then he gave the logic that when we are doing sadhan, Guru is very important. When we get Swarup Siddhi, when we know our Swarupa, still Guru is very important. And even when we get Vastu Siddhi, means when we are transported to some planet where Krishna's pastimes are going on, still we'll have to render service to Gurudev. We cannot give up the service to Gurudev. And Gurudev also again and again telling this, that and again trying to impress upon us the importance of Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. For example, Gurudev was giving an example of Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur, he was born in Khetudi in Bangladesh on the bank of the Padma river. And Nityananda Prabhu, he collected all the love in the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because whatever love of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced in Gambhira, what was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experiencing in Gambhira? Gurudev was telling that he was experiencing the loving separation of Krishna, Viraha. Then the tears of Mahaprabhu, the love and affection he showed for Krishna in Gambhira, that great deep mood of separation of Krishna, that Vipralamba Bhav, Sri Nityananda Prabhu collected it from Gambhira and he deposited at Prematala. Prematala is one banyan tree in Khetudi. I had the good fortune to visit that place, Prematala. Didn't know much about Prematala that time. Though. Underneath that banyan tree, he kept the love of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart, Krishna Prem in the heart of Mahaprabhu there. And he told the Padma river, Padma is a tributary of Ganges, that please give this Krishna Prem to that great person who will appear very soon. Means when Nityananda Prabhu deposited that Prem of Krishna Prem underneath that banyan tree at Premtala in Khetudi, um, Sri Narottam Das Thakur wasn't born then. So Padma may asked him that how would I know Narottam? He said, when you see him, waves will start rising, your size will increase, and your flood will come in your waters. So Padma river gave that Krishna Prem to Narottam Das Thakur. Finally, Narottam Das Thakur came to Vrindavan. He took initiation from Loknath Das Goswami and he took instructions from Shri Jiva Goswami. Then Gurudev said that who is his real guru actually? And he said that his guru is actually Jiva Goswami. Loknath Goswami is Diksha Guru, but Jiva Goswami also know less. He gave him so much instructions about Bhakti, Jiva Goswami Pad. So Gurudev was telling that we should never think that our Diksha Guru or Shiksha Guru or Worship Guru, any type of Guru is an ordinary person. They are all manifestations of Krishna. You should think like this. Even our Madhyabharikari Guru also don't regard him as an ordinary living entity, he said. And Gurudev was making a point that you cannot stay in the association of pure devotees. Even for a moment, you will not last. He was giving example of Srila Gaurakrishna Babaji Maharaj, that how even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada could not handle Gaurakrishna Babaji Maharaj. He went to ask him for initiation and he rejected him. Even if Prabhupada cannot last with Gaurakrishna Babaji Maharaj, what chance we have? How long will last? Not even a moment. Even Vamshidas Babaji Maharaj. Very difficult to live with them. They will chastise us. Understand? They will chastise us and we will run away. But Madhyamadikari Guru, we can last with him. But Uttam Mahabhagavad, very difficult to live with them. Gurudeva is giving an example of Narad Muni. He said, how long you can follow Narad Muni? That Narad Muni used to go to Dwarka, used to fly by the sky without an airplane or anything. Gurudev said, can you fly in the air with him? Not possible. But with Madhyamadikari Guru, he will deal appropriately with the disciples. Understand? So it is easy to live with him. But Maha Bhagavad, very difficult to live with them. So here, we are discussing Krishna's energies. And Guru is also energy of Krishna. The energy is the consorts of the Supreme Lord of three kinds. The Lakshmi is in Vaikuntha. Now, every Vaikuntha planet there is a Lakshmi because there is a manifestation of Vishnu. Wherever Vishnu is there, Lakshmi must be there. And the queens in Dwarka. The queens in Dwarka, Satyabhama, Rukmini, Naganajiti, they are all great queens. And the gopis in Vrindavan. And when Krishna is Brajananda Shams and Krishna, then gopis are his energies. The gopis are the best of all, for they have the privilege of serving Shri Krishna, the primeval Lord, the son of the king of Braja. Now, why the gopis are the best of all? Because their greatness was seen even at Kurukshetra. Srila Gurudev was speaking about the meeting of gopis and Krishna at Kurukshetra and how gopis talked to him. They were telling, Krishna was telling them, Mai bhaktiri bhutanam amrutatvaya kalpate dishtya edasin matsne bhavati nam madapana. And gopis' reply was, Ahushyate nalinava padaravinda Yogeshwarirapya vichintya gada bodhe samsara pupa patito tarnabalambam giham jusham manasad udya sadana. And such deep meanings Srila Gurudev was explaining about this conversation between gopis and Krishna. Understand? And gopis were taunting Krishna sometimes also. So the gopis are the greatest of the devotees of Krishna. There is no doubt about it. So the Bhagwan's potencies are three types. In Vaikuntha, Lakshmis. And in Dwarka, there are queens called Mahishis. And in Vraj, there are gopis. So the gopis of Vraj, they are the greatest among them. So Amrut Prabha Bhashya. Yadyapi Amara Guru. That is the verse number 44. Till the Sadak Ganar, verse number 64. The Guru and Bhaktas are these two tattvas are described. The verse number 44 to verse number 64, Gurudev and the devotee, these two tattvas, these spiritual truths are discussed. Ishwaran Avatar, verse number 65, to Pruthu Vyasa Muni, till verse 67, Bhagwan and Bhagwan's avatars are discussed. And Durupyahaya, verse number 68, to Pradyumnadi Sankarshana, verse number 78, Bhagwan's Prakash and Bhagwan's Vilasa are discussed. Now in two verses, Ishwarana Shakti Haya, verse number 79 to Swayam Bhagwan, verse number 80, the Shakti is now discussed. These two verses will describe the potencies of the Lord. Understand? So this 79 and 80 is talking about Isha Shakti. Bhagwan is never devoid of any potency. So, Swayam Rupa Krishnera Kaya Vihatara Sama Bhakta Saitihaya Tara. So, Lakshmi is serving Narayan in Vaikuntha. Lakshmi Angri Kamalasya Nikhanchalasya Saundarya Birnamapi Narati Labdumishe Twamchen Vidhasya Mama Netra Danam Kim Jivitana Mama Dukha Davagnidev. So, it is told that Lakshmi at Angri Kamalasya Nakhanchalasya. Not possible for Lakshmi even to match the beauty of tonal of Radharani's lotus feet. And the queens in Dwarka also, they have love for Krishna. But their love is divided. There is love is divided into 10 parts because they have 10 sons and a daughter. And it is also divided into 11 parts, 12 parts like this. Then they have grandsons. It gets further divided. From each son they have 10 grandsons. But Gopi is nothing. They have nobody other than Krishna. So Gurudev said that there is love is undivided. And that's why he told the gopis, Na pareham niravadya samyujam. So sadhakrutte vibhudavishabhya. Yamavajan durjara geha shrunkhala samvrasatadva pratiyati sadhana. Like when Krishna played the flute, the flute song did not enter anyone's ears on the earth planet. It went higher in Swargaloka. There were so many apsaras there, emulate damsels. It didn't enter their ears also. It went to Brahmaloka, it didn't enter the ears of Lord Brahma. When the flute song of Krishna went higher, it went to Vaikuntha planets, but it didn't enter into the ears of any Lakshmis because they were not qualified to hear the flute song of Krishna. Then it went to even Dwarka, Ayodhya, Dwarka, Mathura, but didn't enter anyone's ears. Then it went to Golak Vrindavan, the flute song of Krishna. Krishna was playing flute song, standing underneath the banyan tree. And that flute song didn't enter the ears of even the motherly gopis like Yashoda. It only entered into the ears of Krishna's eternal consort, Lalita, Vishakha, Radharani, like this. So Srila Gurudev was telling that if the flute song would have entered the ears of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and if Yashoda would have come there and Radharani also would have come, then there would be Rasabhas. Understand? So Yashoda, different mood, Radharani, different mood. So therefore, this flute song didn't enter anyone's ears. It enters only the ears of the qualified gopis. Understand? And whatever work they were doing, they left that and they came to see Krishna. So how great are these gopis? Understand? These gopis are really very, very great. Don't think that Srila Gurudeva was giving an example. That don't think that the study of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat is like mundane charity. He was giving an example of a devotee by a person called Durga. King Durga had given so many cows in charity. Maybe you can measure the stars in the sky or particles of the dust on the earth. You can measure count the number of water drops in an ocean, but you cannot count how many cows were donated by King Durga to a Brahmana. But one time he donated a cow to a Brahmana, the cow came back to the Goshala and he again donated that to another Brahman. Oh. Both Brahmans were so angry. One Brahman claimed, "This is my cow. Yesterday I was given this cow by King Durga." Then the other Brahman said, "Today this cow was given to me by King Durga." So quarrel reached to King Durga's ears. King said, "Oh, you should abandon the claim over this cow. In return for abandoning the claim over this cow, I will give innumerable more cows to you. Please don't fight." They said, "The fight is not for a cow. The fight is about the truthfulness, who's speaking the truth." And finally, King Durga could not satisfy them, and they both cursed him that you are like chameleon, like a lizard, changing colors. So we want that you become a lizard who changes colors. Understand? And then what happened? Immediately he became a lizard. Because he changed colors. One time you give cow to us, then you give to someone else. So you are like a chameleon. You are like a changeable or an inconstant person. It's also like a chameleon. Chameleon is actually lizard of Africa and Madagascar, able to change the skin color and having a projectile tongue, basically. Understood? So they cursed him to become a lizard. But then Krishna came, he was lying like a lizard in a well, and Krishna's sons, grandsons, they were playing some ball. Ball fell in the well, and Krishna went there and on the pretext of pulling out the ball also rescued this lizard, this chameleon, from that horrible species. Now the reason he got Krishna's touch of Krishna's lotus hand is because one time a Brahmana came to him and said, "I want some Bhagavatam. Please give me one copy of Srimad Bhagavatam." So that time the copy was very difficult to make. You have to scribble with a pointed pen on the palm leaves or lotus leaves, inscriptions. So he created a copy of Bhagavatam and donated it to a Brahman. As a result of that Sukruti, he got darshan of Sri Krishna. So Gurudev was telling how great is Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is so great. So you see that these are not ordinary books, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam. So here is told, verse number 81, Swayam Rupa Krishnera Kaya Vihatara Sama Bhakta Sahite Hayat Tahara Avaran. So Krishna has been called here Swayam Rupa. Swayam Rupa Krishnera Kaya Viha Tandra Sama Bhakta Sahite Hayat Tahara Avatar. So Swayam Rupa means his original form, two-handed form. Devotee is like two-handed form more than the four-handed form. That Ujjwal Nilamani, that verse said, Gopinam Pashupendra Nandan Jisho Bhavasya Kastam Kruti Vidnyatum Kshamate Duruha Padavim Sancharana Prakriyam Avish Kurvati Vaishnava Tanum Tasmin Bhuja Jishnuvi Yasam Hanta Chaturveda Ruchim Rago Dem Kunchit. That when gopis see the forearm form of Krishna, they are not so attractive. Rather, they regard the forearm form as worshipable for them, like Narayan, and to pranam to that form. But when they are overwhelmed to see the beauty of two-handed form, and they want to embrace and kiss that form of Krishna. Like one time, Gurudev is telling that, oh, what is Rasa Leela? Then he said, embracing and kissing is not Raslila. Because Yashoda also embraces Krishna and kisses Krishna. Is that Raslila? No. Rasate asvadyate iti rasa. There the special sentiments in the hearts of the gopis is tested. That is rasa. Understand? So, these gopis, they like his two-handed form. So his original form is always two-handed form. Kayavya means personal expansions of him. The personal associates of the primeval Lord Shri Krishna are his devotees and who are identified with him. He is complete with his entourage of devotees. So Sri Krishna in his various personal expansions are non-different in potential power. These expansions are associated with further secondary expansions or servitor expansions who are called devotees. Understand? So Bhagavan will come with his servants also. स्वयंरूप तदेकात्म स्वयंरूप श्री कृष्ण के कहे हुए उनके ही समान है। ये भक्तों से सदा परिवेष्टित रहते हैं, इसलिए भक्त उनका आवरण है। स्वयंरूप तदेकात्म आदि भागवतामृत के श्लोकों के विचार से द्विभुज श्री कृष्ण ही स्वयंरूप। शायद भागवतामृत written by Rupa Goswami says that Krishna is two-arm form of Krishna is his स्वयंरूप, original form. And his bodily expansion was also like him. Kaya Vyuha. In Sanskrit, the word Kaya means the body, and Vyuha means expansion. So Kaya Vyuha means expansion of the body. And every form of Krishna is surrounded by different devotees. They are his covering. आवरण एंड वेष्टित आवृत तत्व का एक साथ विचार करने से पूर्वोक्त छह तत्वों का एकत्व ही निर्धारित होता है. So previously mentioned six tattvas. What are the six tattvas? That Bhagwan, devotees, the spiritual master, the devotee, incarnations of Bhagwan, and his expansions, Prakash and Vilas, and his potencies. All these six tattvas are actually one. They're all one, identical. So, by ascertaining this, we are talking about inconceivable oneness and difference. Achinta Bheda Tattva. All these tattvas are actually one and also different at the same time. Bhaktadi krame kaila savara vandana, e savara vandana sarva shubhera karana. अब तक मैंने भगवान के भक्त शक्ति अवतार प्रकाश आदि क्रमानुसार वंदना की. इन सब की वंदना समस्त शुभों का कारण है. So when we glorify the devotees of Bhagwan, his potencies, his incarnations, his expansions, when we offer obeisance to them, then it brings some auspiciousness, great auspiciousness. Like Gurudev was telling one thing. Mathura, he was giving Bhagavatam class, he was telling, hey, devotees were singing Radhe, Radhe, Radhe like Kirtan. Then he said, hey, how much Radhe, Radhe you do? If you are not doing Ekadashi, Radhe, Radhe will not work. You must do Ekadashi. Then he said that you feel so hungry. Ekadashi day, people give so many excuses in India not to do Ekadashi. The first reason they gave is that we have headache, we are weak, we cannot tolerate hunger. But the same persons who are not doing Ekadashi, even one day, if any lady is not doing Ekadashi, saying, giving the reason for hunger, thirst, and other thing. But if her daughter's marriage is there, she will stay hungry for 2 days. If she has fought with the husband, she will not talk to husband and not eat for 3 days in domestic fight. But for Ekadashi, she will have headache, vomiting sensation, weakness, like this. Okay, Gurudev said he cannot do Nirjal, you are Kalyuga Jiva, then what is about Jaggery? Some Jaggery in water, you drink it. If that cannot do also, there are so many type of fruit in the market. Understand? Some potatoes also are there. Why not take that and somehow do Ekadashi? But some people give an excuse that, oh, some member of our family had died that day, my grandmother had died that day, so we don't do Ekadashi. So Gurudev said, this is all nonsense. This is not an excuse not to do Ekadashi. Then in Jagannath Puri, the Pandas, they tell that, oh, their Ekadashi has no importance. Bhagavan Jagannath took the Ekadashi and turned her upside down, caught her by feet and tied her feet to the tree, banyan tree. Now Ekadashi is hanging upside down in Jagannath Puri. And Gurudev said that Ekadashi is not hanging upside down. You Pandas are hanging upside down. Your head is down and feet up. You have a perverted vision, and that's why you are seeing Ekadashi is upside down. When Mahaprabhu was offered so many types of delicious foodstuffs in Jagannath Puri, and Mahaprabhu, he said, I will wait till Dwadashi. He honored the prasad but did not eat it. And he said, if prasad is rotten, no harm, I will eat it anyway, rotten prasadam also, but I will not honor prasad on Ekadashi. So he said, you should not disobey Ekadashi. In India, the Brahmanas, they have a special, Gurudev was telling that the Brahmanas have a special conception. They will come to you and say that, mother, are you doing Ekadashi? Say, yes, we are doing Ekadashi. Do you want to do Udyapan? Say, what is Udyapan? Means conclusion of Ekadashi. We did Ekadashi for 5 years. It was very troublesome. So enough is enough. We'll now get rid of Ekadashi. So we'll now stop doing Ekadashi. Then they call the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are also very greedy. They know that if you go for Udyapan, then when you are concluding your Ekadashi Vrata, you have to give them 11 pitchers, 11 bed sheets, 11 umbrellas, 11 mats, 11 dhotis, 11 saris for their wives, everything 11, 11, 11. So this is a very good business. We'll get so many 11s, understand? Like in America, there is a food chain, restaurant chain, 7-Eleven, grocery shop, 7-Eleven. So they'll get 7-Eleven there, or 9-11. So basically, the Brahmanas, greedy Brahmanas, they will do Udyapan. Then Gurudev said, why not do a Udyapan of your mother and father? Kick them also out of the homes. And how about concluding Lakshmi Devi, doing Udyapan of Lakshmi Devi? Get rid of Lakshmi Devi also. And Gurudev was telling that, just like you will never kick out Lakshmi, the wealth from your house. Similarly, Ekadashi is the Lakshmi of the Lakshmis. She is the goddess of fortune of the goddess of fortune. Never abandon Lakshmi, Ekadashi. Yes, from the age of 8 till 80, you must do it. After the age of 80, you'll see it. Too old, then Krishna may forgive even if you don't do it. But Gurudev said, till 80, sacrosanct, from the age of 8 till 80, no matter what, you must do it. If you cannot do total nirjal, then you can take some anukalpa, but no grains. Lot of sin will come. So Gurudev was making this point about Ekadashi. He said, Bhakti, all your bhajan will be useless if you are not doing Ekadashi. He was telling that it will not, no benefit. You will not get any benefit if you don't do Ekadashi. Even Radhe Radhe will not help you, he said. How much Radhe Radhe you do, it will not help you if you don't do Ekadashi and bhajan. So you see here that Bhagavan is having potencies. Verse number 82. Bhaktadikrame kaila savara vandana ye savara vandana sarva shubhera karana. अब तक मैंने भगवान के भक्त शक्ति अवतार प्रकाश आदि कर्मानुसार वंदना की है. इन सब की वंदना समस्त शुभों का कारण है. Now I have worshipped all the various levels of devotees. Worshipping them is the source of all good worship. To offer praise to the Lord, one should first offer praise to his devotees and his associates. Now this is also very, very important. that we should offer prayers to the devotees of Bhagwan. So, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one should not be proud. Basically, pride is the root cause of all problems. So Gurudev was telling that, like one proud scholar, Keshav Kashmiri came to Navadvip. What happened? He had benediction from Saraswati, so learned scholar, and he wanted to debate with all the Panditas of Navadvip. They all were scared. So who's going to debate with this deadly Pandit? No one can defeat him. So all the Pandits of Navadvip were very clever. They told that the junior most among us is Nimai Pandit. He's just a teenage boy. And he doesn't know much. First you defeat him, then you can come to us and debate. So thinking like this, that Brahman Keshav Kashmiri actually from Kashmir only, because Kashmir, the Saraswati is very favorable to Kashmir land. So Keshav Kashmiri went in the evening time. Mahaprabhu was sitting there with his students and they were discussing some grammars and logic. When Keshav Kashmiri went there and he sat there, Mahaprabhu saw him and he greeted him and said, "Oh, you are a very big scholar. We are sitting on the bank of the Ganges, so why don't you glorify Ganges?" And then Keshav Kashmiri began to sing 100 verses. So speedily he uttered 100 verses. So Mahaprabhu told him, find the defects in one of the verses, any one of your verses. And he said, you only tell me, my verses have no defects. They have only good qualities and ornaments of speech, no defects. Mahaprabhu picked one of the verses from his 100 stanza composition and pointed out the defects, 5 defects and 5 good qualities. He was stunned. He was stunned by the erudition. He went to Saraswati and Saraswati also apologized to him. He said, my dear son, I apologize, but I could not come to help you because you are dealing directly with my husband. How can I come before my husband? He is my master and my husband. So Mahaprabhu defeated Keshav Kashmiri. Then he told Keshav Kashmiri, go to Vrindavan and do bhajan. Life is not meant for defeating others, showing your false scholarship, vain flaws of scholarship. Not for that. So first we offer obeisances to devotees. प्रथम श्लोके सामान्य मंगलाचरण, द्वितीय श्लोके ते करी विशेष वंदना. She has already done mangalacharan. In the first verse, I invoked general benediction. But in the second, I have prayed for the Lord in a particular form. So now verse number 84. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gaudode Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamonodo. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. So, Gauda Desh, land of Gauda, is compared to the eastern direction, where the sun and the moon rise. And simultaneously, the sun and the moon have risen. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like the sun, so Nityananda Prabhu is like moon. And they both have simultaneously risen. And they are Mangal Data. They are the bestower of auspiciousness. What they do? They remove the darkness of the living entities. Like our life, there is so much darkness. Like Gurudev was telling one thing. He said, whether you happily, smilingly tolerate the difficulties or crying, weeping and complaining, you tolerate the difficulties. You have to tolerate the difficulties in your life. Be very clear about it. You shouldn't worry about it. You shouldn't complain at all. Why? How much you complain, the difficulty will not reduce. And Gurudev was giving an example of Prahlad. He said, Prahlad had so many difficulties. Did he say a word about it? How about Haridas Thakur? Did he complain at all? He was beaten in 22 marketplaces. And he said, we are hearing Bhagavad Katha in the Matha. Then we come home to the Matha and we quarrel with everyone. We quarrel with our mother, quarrel with our father, quarrel with our brother. We beat up some persons at home. Is this a sign of bhakti? That we fight with everyone. Then when the difficulties rise too much, we say, oh, I will take a rope and hang myself. Will that solve the problem? Actually, if you commit suicide, you will suffer 100 times more than what you are suffering now. Understand? So Gurudev said, either smiling or crying, you must learn to tolerate. Either you smilingly happy you are encountering, or some other you should try to tolerate. You said, don't ignore Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita teaches us to be tolerant. Matra spursastu kaunteya, shitoshtastu tabata, agama payanu nityam, tam pratyakshasva bharata. Learn to tolerate. Hot and cold, ups and downs, profit and loss. Learn to tolerate. That's why Bhagavad Gita is so important. So here Gurudev is telling that Gauda Desha eva Udayachalatas. Udayachal means where the sun will rise. Like Ekadashi, next Ekadashi, 26th. We are doing it in South India on 26th. But in the eastern part of India, Bengal and some eastern part like Bihar, eastern Bihar, not the western Bihar, they are doing on 27th. So there is some calculation about it. Shipad Dandi Maharaj told that if you cannot resolve the confusion, then you do it 2 days by taking fruit. Taking fruit and you do Ekadashi. That is also fine, he said. And actually, I love Ekadashi because every day taking chapati, sabji, rice, all Mahaprasad, no doubt about it. But Ekadashi, there are little varieties there. Because they just cannot give you rice and sabji. They have to put something else. Understand? And, like lemonade. Pure jaggery, like Dandi Maharaj has pure jaggery. Here, Tirupati jaggery may have some contamination. If you get pure jaggery and you make lemonade out of it, then so tasty. Offer it to Krishna and take it, Like in America, many of them, they are doing some fast, like, maple syrup fast. Cayenne pepper, they put it in it, and maple syrup lemonade they make and they drink it. And by that they survive for many days, get rid of toxins and all. But Ekadashi is also like getting rid of toxins from the system, giving some rest. So, on the eastern horizon of Gauda Desh, Gauda means actually India is divided into North India is divided into 5 Gauda Deshas. And southern India is divided into 5 Dravida Deshas. Gauda Desh. So together sun and the moon have risen. They are bestowing auspiciousness on the whole world and they are destroying the darkness. Darkness is actually the darkness of ignorance. So Shri Krishna Chaitanya and Nityananda, they have a reason. Like Gurudev was making one point that he said Sita Devi. What fault really she had? He asked. What was her fault at all of Sita Devi? Did she have any other fault? She had really any fault? Gurudev said she had no fault whatsoever. But Ram, she was kidnapped by Ravana. Gurudev said difficulties will come to your life. But see, Sita complained. Finally, she was sent to the forest. After she came back to Ayodhya, again she was sent to the forest. What was her fault? No fault of her. But still she got punished. So Gurudev said, learn to tolerate. Remember the example of Sita, Prahlad, Draupadi. She was about to be stripped naked. For what fault was she had? No fault. Pandavas, why they were sent to the forest? What was their fault? Nothing. But they had to suffer. So Gurudev says that this is all, this material world is so full of distress. You must have to endure, tolerate, learn to tolerate all these lamentations and distresses. So these two brothers are comparable to the sun and the moon. And this actually particular metaphor or ornament of speech or metaphor is really appropriate. Brajeje Vihare Purve Krishna Balarama Koti Surya Chandra Jeev Doharani Jadhama Sei Dui Jaga Tere Haiya Sadaya Gauda Deshe Purva Shaile Karila Udaya. The same Krishna and Balram used to wander in the Braja together. And their bodily complexion used to defeat the effulgence of millions of the suns and the moons. But those two brothers now have appeared being merciful to the world on the eastern horizon of Gaudadesh. So on the eastern bank of the Ganga they have appeared. So their bodily complexion is more effulgent than billions and billions of the suns and billions of the moon. So the complexion of their body is more effulgent than the suns and more gentle than the effulgence of the light of the moon is very snigdha. Snigdha means very, very gentle. Understand? Snigdha means very, very gentle, very pleasant. The moonlight is very, very pleasant. Those who have seen like the moonlight in India, especially autumn season, oh, so soothing. But there, Nityananda Prabhu's bodily complexion is like soothing like the moon, but like not just one moon, millions of moons. But their bodily effulgence is not burning like the light of the sun. Generally speaking, when we talk about the sun, if you're living in the Tirupati or some other place, or even in Delhi now, so hot. And if you say that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like millions of the suns, people will faint. Because here in Tirupati, we are having a serious time. No one will venture out of the house at 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock. The whole streets are all empty. It's so hot. So the local people say they don't want to get out of the houses. And you tell them that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more effulgent than millions of the suns. They say no one wants to go to Navadvip. It will be so hot there. Mahaprabhu is more effulgent than the millions of the suns. So then, the another metaphor is used like the moons. Although he is effulgent like millions of the suns, his bodily effulgence is not hot like the sun, but cooling like the moon. Understand? It's very, very cooling and pleasurable, pleasant like the moon. Understand? So, means both the qualities of the sun and moon are there. Effulgent like the sun, like millions of the suns, but that effulgence is pleasurable like the effulgence of the moon. Like the moonlight is very pleasurable. Like if I go on my roof now, I can see the moonlight. Understand? Very pleasurable. But at 12 o'clock afternoon, if I go to the roof, So burning. So श्री कृष्ण चैतन्यार प्रभु नित्यानंद जहार प्रकाश सर्व जगत आनंद। उन श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानंद प्रभु के प्रकट होने से सारे विश्व में आनंद छा गया। The whole world is blissful due to the appearance of Shri Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, Srila Bhakti Kumar Santa Goswami Maharaj, when he used to come back from the Nagar Kirtan, understand, he used to sing that Kirtan. I think you may also have known it. How wonderful! There are so many. After Nagar Kirtan, we used to sing this. What we used to sing? Oh, Nagara Brahmi Amar Gaura Elo Ghare Gaura Elo Ghare Amar Nita Elo Ghare Papi Tapi Uddhariya Gaura Elo Ghare Gaura Elo Ghare Amar Nita Elo Ghare Sachi Mata Gaura Kole Kare Dhula Jhadi Sachi Mata Gaura Kole Kare Dhula Jhade Padmavati Nitai Kole Kare. Sachi Mata is taking my Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the lap and using her veil, she is dusting off, removing the dust from his body. Because he may have rolled on the ground on Navadvip while doing kirtan in ecstasy. And same thing Padmavati mother is doing to Nityananda Prabhu. So they are like the sun and the moon because they not only dissipate ordinary darkness but they dissipate the darkness of ignorance. And this darkness of ignorance is more thick than the darkness we ignore in the night time. The darkness which we experience in the night time, like there is night right now in India, can be removed by even by LED lamp, LED bulb or lantern. But how to get rid of the darkness of ignorance? That Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu they are removing. So Tamonudau Surya Chandra Hare Jaise Sava Andhakara वस्तु प्रकाशिया करे धर्मेरा प्रचार एई मत दुई भाई जीवेरा ज्ञान तमो नाश करी करे वस्तु तत्व ज्ञान। जिस प्रकार सूर्य और चंद्र समस्त अंधकार को दूर करके वस्तु को प्रकाशित कर उनके धर्म रूप गणादि को प्रकट करते हैं, उसी प्रकार इन दोनों भाइयों ने भी जीवों के अज्ञान रूपी अंधकार का विनाश कर उन्हें परम तत्व का ज्ञान दिया। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ इट इज डार्क, then you cannot find a table, you cannot find a chair, you cannot find the socks, your shoes. Understand? Nothing. No object will be visible to you. If object is not even visible to you, how can you find its characteristics? Understand? So like that. So similarly, these two brothers, they removed our ignorance. We are actually, really speaking, we are simply blind persons in the darkness. Ajnana divirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshur umritam yena tasmai shri gurave namah. We are really blind due to ignorance. And Shri Gurudev removed that cataract of our eyes by the torchlight of knowledge. We are so indebted to him. So this Gaur Nityananda Prabhu, they are the gurus of the whole world. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Understand? So what is Kaitava? अज्ञानता मेरा नाम कहिए कर्तव धर्म अर्थ काम वांछा आदि सब। अज्ञान रूपी अंधकार का ही दूसरा नाम कैतव है। अपने भोग के लिए धर्म अर्थ काम आदि की अज्ञान रूपी अंधकार. If we are hankering for mundane religiosity, elevation to the heavenly planets, so basically dharma means varnashram dharma. Serving the mother and father, serving the elderly persons, speaking the truth, giving in charity. This is all dharma. It's all religious concept. So if you practice this religious conception, all this religiosity, mundane religiosity, you will get wealth, artha. Means you will get wealth, property, prosperity, and all the objects meant for the satisfaction and giving happiness to your senses and body. So when with the wealth you have got now, all your material desires, kamana, will be satisfied. That is called kama. And when your desires are satisfied, again it will encourage you to practice dharma, religious principles. Again, practice religious principles, will get again wealth. Again you have wealth. Again your sense desires, sense gratification, kama will be satisfied. Again you will engage in dharma. Again get wealth. Again satisfy kama. Again engage in dharma. So like this. So you continue this cycle. This cycle, cash 22 will keep on going and going and going. Practice dharma, get wealth, enjoy, again do dharma, again get wealth, again enjoy. It's like this going on. So, this is called Tri Chakra. This is called Tri Varga. Understand? This is some type of a military formation called Chakra Vyuha, which like Dronacharya had made for Abhimanyu. No one can get out of that military formation called Chakra Vyuha. So this Artha Dharma Kama is like that dangerous military formation. You cannot get out of this catch-22 cycle. More you try to get out of it, more you will get trapped in it. Understand? More you get trapped in it. So this is like a very, very dangerous cycle, very fatal cycle. If you get understand. So this is like Quagmire, Quagmire, a soft wet area of low-lying land that sinks underfoot. A complicated, difficult, or confused situation. Quagmire. Understand? So Artha Dharma Kama is like Quagmire. Like a Sundarban in Bengal is like that. Once you get trapped in that quagmire, cannot come out of it. So, some fortunate living entity can get out of this trap. But once he comes out of this trap of these three, Artha, Dharma and Kama, economic development, sense gratification and mundane religiosity, he gets trapped in the fourth one, that is liberation. So this liberation is, okay, this is one human goal of human life, but that is actually not, that is only one minute portion of the ultimate goal of life. It is not our ultimate goal to obtain liberation. Actually, liberation is the beginning of Paramartha. From liberation is the beginning of our spiritual achievement. It is not the end of the spiritual achievement. Liberation, don't think that liberation is be all and end all. It is everything. No. Liberation is where your spiritual progress has begun now. But ultimate goal is Krishna Bhakti. The fifth goal of life is not liberation, but rather Krishna Bhakti. If anyone is regarding that, oh, Artha, Dharma, Kam, Moksha, economic development, self-gratification, liberation, these are all goal of human life, then that is the darkness of ignorance. This is all duplicity. And so these Jnana yogis and Raja yogis, they are aspiring for liberation. But Mahaprabhu never told that this liberation is the goal of life. In Chaitanya Charitamrita doesn't say like this. Mahaprabhu never told like that. See, Mahaprabhu's opinion is documented in Srimad Bhagavatam. Whatever Bhagavatam says, Mahaprabhu preached that same thing only. Mahaprabhu's teaching is Bhagavatam's teaching, and Bhagavatam's teaching is Mahaprabhu's teaching. Some people are preaching some opinions, saying that this is Mahaprabhu's opinion. But they're all actually imposters, preaching wrong things in the name of Mahaprabhu. What did Mahaprabhu preach? Bhagavatam verse 112. Dharmaha krodjito kaitapatro varamo nirmatsaranam sata. Vedyam vastamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayan mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni krute kimva pare ishvara sadyo ruddhya vardate atra krutivi shushruvi takshana. Understand? So we'll discuss next time. Don't forget this verse number 91. We have stopped at the verse number 91. Very amazing verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma pujita kaitavo atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni krute Kimba Pareshwara Sadyo Ruddha Varuddhate Atra Krutivi Shushru Virakshana. I think this is Shardul Vikrita Chanda. Shardul Vikrita Chanda. Like the walking of a lion, lion's gate. Dharma Projita Kaitavo Atra Paramo Nirma Ranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayon Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute Kimba Parevishwara Satyo Ruddhya Varuddhate Atra Krutivi So actually, Gurudev was telling me this, like Bhagavatam, so many wonderful tunes are there to sing it. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami knew this. Gadadhar Pandit also used to sing Mahaprabhu Bhagavatam in so many different tunes. It's such sweet scripture, amazing scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam. Like Gurudev was telling that when the Bhagavatam Katha goes on in India, then when Vaman Dev's prasanga comes, that Vaman Dev is entering into the arena of Bali Maharaj, sacrificial arena, then he's asking charity from Bali Maharaj, then people also ask charity. Those are speaking Harikatha. When Rukmani's marriage is there, you are supposed to give dowry. You are supposed to give saris, ornaments, cows, jewelry, everything. Just like when your daughter gets married in India, you have to give dowry. So Gurudev said that this is all explained in Bhagavatam Mahatmya, how Bhagavat Sapta is conducted. You have to give so much charity to the speaker of Bhagavatam. But Gurudev said we don't follow this because we follow Shukdev Goswami. When Shukdev Goswami came and spoke Bhagavatam, what did he ask from Parikshit Maharaj? And what did Parikshit Maharaj give him? Both were having, Shukdev Goswami was totally naked and Parikshit Maharaj was only wearing a lion cloth. So there was nothing to give for Parikshit Maharaj to him, and Shukdev Goswami also didn't anything. So Gurudev said that when we speak Bhagavad Katha, the last day you have to bring only one tulsi leaf as a charity. That's all you want. Bring one tulsi leaf in charity, and you should listen Bhagavad Katha carefully and adopt it in your life. Follow it in your life. That's all the greatest charity is there. Understand? So we are stopping here today. Verse number 91 from Chaitanya first chapter, Adi Leela. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2. Don't forget. Thank you. Hare Krishna. If anyone has any questions or comments, please let me know. Hare Krishna. Alright. Try to follow Ekadashi on 26th. I don't know your local time, but my time is 26th. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Marge, the last time there was a confusion with Singapore and Hong Kong devotees, and Hong Kong devotees didn't understand you quite clear. So Ekadasi is also on the 26th for South Africa. That's on a Tuesday. But sometimes we also have an Ekadasi like the day after or the day before. So when I asked Gurudev, Gurudev said that sometimes there's a miscalculation. So we should just follow the dates that he gives us. So Marge, Hong Kong devotees wanted to know that because they're 6 hours ahead of us,
Ah,
which day should they follow? Should we all just follow Gurudev when he gives us the dates? Or should they follow their calendar even though, well, Gurudev says that sometimes the calculation is wrong. So that's why
ah,
we just wait. I personally wait for Gurudev to give me the dates.
better. You ask
Mm.
Maharaj. Ah, you know, you ask Maharaj what date they should follow. Like local. But see, there is a calendar we get from Mathura. That
Mm.
is our Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math, IGVT calendar. And there are also Devananda Gaudiya Math or our Gurudev's Keshaji Gaudiya Math in Mathura, in Navadvip. They also have a calendar. And then there is also Madhva Sampradaya calendar. There are different calendars which are available. Understand? Then there is also one calendar on pure bhakti. So, but generally we follow the Navadvip calendar. Whatever instructions comes to us from Navadvip, So
Okay.
that is what we follow. Is like that's like our Vatican, Gaudiya Vatican.
Sure, Marge. Because sometimes Pure Bhakti calendar also Gurudev says that there's
Ah,
wrong calculation on it. So that's why now I look at our calendar and then I just liaise with Gurudev and see for the right dates. And
absolutely, that is the best way because
yeah.
uh, purebhakti.com sometimes. So there are two calendars like Surya Siddhanta and Druk Siddhanta. Surya Siddhanta is more accurate. I don't know purebhakti.com whether it uses Surya Siddhanta or Druk Siddhanta. But because the website was started by Srila Gurudev, I would not comment much on that because um, but Navadvip calendar, which is they follow Gurudev and Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta, all experts are there. So that's why Navadvip is like that is the most authentic one. Uh, and actually, Navadvip was the place of learning, and even today it's a place of learning for us. For us, the highest place in the world is Navadvip Dham, Vrindavan Dham and Navadvip Dham. Understand? So Gaudiya Sampradaya headquarters is Navadvip Dham. Generally speaking, they give us the correct idea.
Okay.
But those who have no other recourse, they can still refer to purebhakti.com. What can they do? That website is there, and I would say 95% cases, they match. They match Ekadashi's match. 95%. Like three Ekadashis, this confusion arises. Like purebhakti.com is telling something else, then Navadvip Wali is telling Mathura is telling something else, and ISKCON calendar also says something else.
Mm.
Last Ekadashi also, I told one Didi living in Hyderabad that this Ekadashi is 26 or something. Then, and I sent her the video of Sundar Gopal Prabhu explaining this. Then she sent me, no, Ekadashi is next day, and she sent ISKCON video to me as a reply on YouTube video. They are justifying their way, and Sundar Gopal Prabhu is justifying our way. So it's like that. So Gurudev actually once he told that all should unite and we should all sit together, Gaudiya Math, ISKCON, and all the devotees, followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and create one single calendar, one single
Mm.
calendar which all the devotees who have love and affection for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Bhakti Siddhanta Sarthi Prabhupada. This was one point I heard in lecture of Gurudev, that this one important point of unity. So there is not so much confusion, understand. This what are doing that day, then they're doing that day, like so, like this. Because all we are Vaishnavas, so we should try to have unity in that case. So we have to work on that. Anyways, please consult Sripad Dandi Maharaj. I
Ji
consulted him and
Maharaj,
he
I
told
will
us that
ask Gurudev
26th is
tomorrow.
Ekadashi. Huh?
I'll ask Gurudev tomorrow. Tomorrow there's a class with Gurudev.
Then you can ask him, yes. Okay.
Because especially
Hare Krishna.
for Hong Kong and Singapore, they're 6 hours ahead of our country. So they
Correct.
find it very difficult to follow.
Right. No, will Maharaj would know, Yeah. There is,
Okay.
there are actually, uh, uh, they can follow that actually. Surya Siddhanta. There must be some way. We'll find out. Maharaj would know. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavad,
Krishna,
Hare
Maharaj. Thank you, Nanda.
Dandavad,
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Prams, thank you so much. If we don't have any more questions, Ananga Mohan Prabhu, can you please say Jai Diwani? Thank you, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गिरिधारी राधे विनोद बिहारी जी की जय। नित्य लेत्र विष्णु विष्णु पर स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भक्ति विष्णु देव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय।
Jai.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु विष्णु पर स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भक्ति दंडी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय।
Jai.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु विष्णु पर स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भक्ति नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज की जय।
Jai.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु विष्णु पर स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भक्ति वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जय।
Jai.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु विष्णु पर स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भक्ति स्वामी महाराज की जय।
Jai Ho.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु विष्णु पर स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भक्ति प्रदान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय।
Jai. Jai.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु विष्णु पर स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु शरण भगवत प्रभारा श्री श्रील गौर किशोर दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय।
Jai. Jai.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु श्री श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति ठाकुर की जय।
Jai.
नित्य लेत्र विष्णु वैष्णव सर्वभौम श्री श्रील जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय।
Jai.
श्री गौड़िया वेदांताचार्य श्री श्रील बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय।
Jai.
श्रील विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय।
Jai. Jai.
श्रील नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभु त्राय की जय।
Jai.
श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय।
Jai. Jai.
श्री रूप सनातन बात रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल बात दास रघुनाथ सर गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय।
Jai. Jai.
श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंद श्री गौर प्रसाद बिंद की जय।
Jai Ho.
नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय।
Jai. Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसती गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai Ho.
श्री अंतर्द्वीप मायपुर सीमन द्वीप गोधुम द्वीप मध्य द्वीप कोला द्वीप ऋतु द्वीप जानुद्वीप मोदा ध्रुव द्वीप रुद्र द्वीप पद्मकार श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय।
Jai Ho.
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपी गोवर्धन द्वादश प्रकार श्री ब्रजमंडल की जय।
Jai.
श्री राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज गंगा यमुना तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय।
Jai. Jai.
श्रीमती वृंदा देवी की जय।
Jai
श्री
Ho.
पौर्णमासी योगमय की जय।
Jai. Jai.
श्री गोपीश्वर महादेव की जय।
Jai.
श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र जीव की जय।
Jai Ho.
श्री शेतर मंडल की जय।
Jai.
सर्व विघ्न विनाशकारी श्री नरसिंहदेव की जय।
Jai Ho.
भक्त प्रभार श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय।
Jai Ho.
चार धाम की जय।
Jai. Jai.
चार संप्रदाय की जय।
Jai.
चार आचार्य की जय।
Jai Ho.
अपर मात राज श्री चैतन्य मात की जय।
Jai Ho.
श्री श्री केशव जी गौड़िया मात ओ तत्सक मात समूहा की जय।
Jai. Jai.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
Jai.
श्री चैतन्य चैत अमृत की जय। श्री
Jai.
हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। सामगार भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai.
श्री मिठाई गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि
Hey,
बोल।
Hari Hari Bo. Pitala Pranashita Shishma Bhakti Kumar Santa Goswami Maharaj ki. Mr. Santa Shanurab Das Prabhu ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you so much. Hare. Dandavat. Hare.
Hare Krishna, thank you, dear devotees, for joining today. Sripad Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj ki jai, Sripad Vishnu Daivata Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Jai Jai. Vishaka Didi ki.
All tomorrow, the devotees. Hare Krishna, Lord.
Hare Krishna. All
Gurudev.
best to you.
Hare,
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.